Vice President Mike Pence is under attack from the liberal left over his conservative religious beliefs. Reacting to Joe Biden calling Pence a decent guy, actor and advocate for progressive causes Cynthia Nixon wrote a scathing op-ed in the Washington Post, blasting that comment, saying Pence is not decent and calls him, quote, insidious. Hello and welcome to A Spirited Debate. I'm Lauren Green. The op-ed got little reaction in mainstream media. Was it tacit approval of her comments? Also, Biden then changed his opinion, saying Pence wasn't that decent after all. So what's going on here? Well, here's your debate. Pastor Shane Idleman, he's the founder and lead pastor of Westside Christian Fellowship in Southern California, and Christopher Hale, former faith advisor to President Barack Obama. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So the op-ed said a man who has built his career on homophobia and misogyny cannot possibly be considered decent. Shane, your reaction?
Well, I don't know where to start with that one. Obviously, decency means morality, modesty, and you have someone who was an actress in Sin, the sitcom there, Sin in the City or whatever it was called.
Sex in the City.
Lecturing the president, Sex in the City, there you go. Lecturing the vice president on morality. So to me, it's just unbelievable that we can even look to her as a spokesperson for decency and morality. And there's not a homophobia. It's those who disagree with that lifestyle. We actually love those people. So it has nothing to do with hate, nothing to do with homophobia. And what you're seeing, though, is the liberal left getting more aggressive, more angry, and trying to go after conservative Christian values.
Now, Chris, she makes the claim, I want to get your reaction to what Shane says, but she makes the claim that being anti-LGBTQ rights is indecent. And is that the standard now of indecency? Your take?
You know, I worked for the President of the United States, Barack Obama, when he did not support same-sex marriage. And actually, who moved him on that issue but Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. So Joe Biden has been a champion of LGBT rights his entire career. In fact, the foremost champion of LGBT rights in the entire Democratic Party. I want to note that Cynthia Nixon lost the Democratic primary to Andrew Cuomo in New York, so she is not revered in this party. I will say this. I think that the Democratic Party has to figure out how we can win over more people in this country. I think it's perfectly fine to say that Mike Pence is a decent and honorable man. I think that Biden can run with that remark. I think it's a fair remark, and I think most Americans agree with that, whether they're on the left or on the right. And I think the Democratic Party needs to figure out how we can win over a wide swath of this country. And too oftentimes we get caught up in the thick of thin things.
Well, but Chris, you know, Biden backpedaled on his comments. In one article asked whether this was moral cowardice. I mean, you know, Chris, what do you think?
Well, you know, I think that that's going to show if Joe Biden, which I think he's running for president of the United States, don't get me wrong, I think he's got to run as his own man. We cannot have this tact to go so far to the left, the culture of hysteria and being offended by every comment that comes out of a politician's mouth. It's not a way to win an election. It's not a way to win over a wide swath of the country. I don't think he needs to apologize. I think if Joe runs for president of the United States, Roger Stone said, let Trump be Trump. Well, Christopher Hale says, let Joe Biden be Joe Biden. I think he, as he is, can win over a wide swath of this country. He doesn't need to listen to the left-wing folks who are getting out him on every issue.
Yeah, okay, Chris, what do you think? I mean, Shane, what do you think about that? Because the idea that Joe Biden kind of backpedaled on what he said about Mike Pence, what does that say? Is it moral cowardice?
Well, I want to go back to even what Chris said about former President Obama, how he was against gay marriage and LGBT, and then he switched, and now we see Joe Biden doing the same thing. What we need is men who are solid on what they believe. What is morality? What is God's standard? What is the truth? And then you hold that line. You don't sway based on popular opinion or opinion polls. You don't do what's politically correct. You do what's biblically correct. So what we're seeing here is a shift. Well, am I going to please my base? And Joe Biden realized, uh-oh, I just upset a large portion of the people who are going to be my base. So I'm one for looking for statesmen who look to the next generation, not politicians who are looking at the next election. So I think people need to be called out when they switch on these things. And you can't switch morality. We've talked about that before. Times change, but truth does not. Truth does not change. And it's not discrimination. It's not hate. It's standing up for what is right and what is wrong.
Okay, we'll continue this conversation, obviously, probably on another day. Thanks so much, Chris and Shane, for being on A Spirited Debate.
Thank you for having us.
And to find out more, go to foxnews.com. I'm Lauren Green. Also check out my podcast, Lighthouse Faith, also on foxnews.com. And thanks for watching.